Hi guys, it's me, Kathy, Mrs. Handy Are You? I hope you guys are doing really good today, or tonight, whatever it is. I know some of you watch it when you're having coffee, which is really fun. Anyway, I picked out my hoodie, and it has all kinds of things you can decode on it, which, I hadn't done yet. But look, 1917. So that was awesome, right? And it's Colorado. It's a park in the Rockies in Colorado, and it's Estes Park. Hope I said it right. Anyway, it was really cool. Once I looked at it, I looked it up, and it equals Estes Park equals 114, and that equals trump card. We're always decoding this, Keystone, like, remember? Find the keystone. Now I know that there's at least 2 keystones. And it equals JFK, JR. And Guardian Angel, and I have one, I know you have one, at least one. And Pearl Harbor, it's all those were 114. And, how about this one? Radio Silence, and Do Not Be Afraid, and Ready, Aim, the last one. And it's interesting because Hawaii's been in the news with some kind of an alert. I don't know if it was real or not. I'm not sure. But it made me think of something that Juan O'Savin had said. He said many years ago, I think it was in the late 60s, there was an unsuccessful sub-attack, and they were trying to make, it would have been an FF. And I won't get into all of it, but he has a whole episode on this. It's with Jennifer Mack, and it's just about 311, the date, the number 311. And so it's really awesome. You should check that one out. I mean, it's an old one, but the old ones are really good. A lot of information. So anyway, let's see. Oh, I noticed something in a Sherlock. I got a lot of stuff from Sherlock. It's like every day now. I was watching something called, it was called The Creeping Man. And he said, over the target, which is one of our 17th letter sayings. So that was really cool. Let's see. And I have some news about J.D.TIPPET. He was the sergeant, supposedly a Dallas police sergeant, that Oswald, everything is supposedly in my book, Oswald supposedly shot JFK, and then as he was running away, supposedly he ran into J.D.TIPPET and shot him, and J.D.TIPPET looked like President Kennedy. So all these years people have been thinking, he was the replacement, and I've said that in the past too. I've thought, he's the one on the operating room table because he was identical and he had just died, and I wasn't sure quite how that happened, like good guys, bad guys, whatever. And I keep bouncing around with theories, but I hadn't looked up J.D.TIPPET, the gematria on his name. And anyway, one of you guys made a comment. I'm sorry I'm being so slow. Tune it up here. One of you guys mentioned on the YouTube comments that he had the same initials as D.J.T, President Trump. And, that's not a coincidence. As soon as I read that, I thought, oh my gosh, we have to check this guy's name. So J.D.TIPPET, I'm not even sure what his full name was, is 120. Okay, there's some awesome ones here. And it's going to tell you exactly whether this stuff was real or not real with Tippett and the whole thing. It equals biggest hint, weird trick, reality check, authorized, security. In other words, like, it was okayed, okay? Claytronic, and that has something to do with what was on the operating room table, and also with the fake Jackie and John in the limo. Yeah. And let's see, doppelganger. All these are 120 that matches his name. Doppelganger is a German word, and it just means an identical twin. Spellbound, like people are watching and they're not really sure what they're seeing, they're spellbound. Lucid dreaming. Come back to life. Life after death. The truth. Fake story. It was all fake. Matches J.D. Tippet. Alive and well is 120. And President Trump said, like forever, he was talking about endless war. It was an endless war. That's 120. So he was kind of putting you in mind of all these words and phrases. Fake story. It was all fake. Spellbound. Doppelganger. And he says, fantastic job to the politicians at rallies all the time. And that's another 120, pointing back to all of these things. You know, life after death, it was all fake. So that was interesting, wasn't it? So anyway, there's no one in the JFK gravesite, as far as I can tell, with, you know, that has the eternal flame in Arlington. I really think it's empty. I thought for a long time that, you know, J.D. Tippet was in there, and so did a whole lot of people. I certainly wasn't the only one. Over all these years, you know, thinking that he would, because he looked identical, well, not identical, but he looked a lot like John F. Kennedy, and people used to nickname him Jack. Well, I think this person was a completely made up person. I don't think he existed. And I remember reading about it a while back, and his funeral was like the next day or something. And there was like no information, no more information about it that you could find. That it was like over and done. That was it. So I don't know. I mean, I do know. I mean, I don't think these things lie. You know, this is gematria is God's language in numbers. All of these things, they're not a coincidence. Our favorite Anon said no coincidences. There's not a word for coincidence in the Jewish language. So, you know, okay. And also, yeah, I forgot this part. So, you know, think about how all this happened. So there must have been coordination between the good guys and the Dallas police chief, you know, the Dallas, at least some of them, and the doctors, in quotes, at Parkland Hospital. Like, maybe they were real doctors at the time. I mean, they've been interviewed a million times over the years, all these doctors. Yeah, and there's this one doctor, Dr. McClelland, I've talked about before, and he has a really good interview, and it's the interview where on YouTube that you'll see. It looks like President Kennedy. It's a color picture, and he's walking down the steps of Air Force One, and he's waving. So that's the one, and it's a Dr. McClelland interview, and he's in a Dallas library giving the interview, and so he kept his jacket or whatever he was wearing in the operating room. He was a very young intern at the time, and so he kept that. Was it a costume? I don't know, you know. And it supposedly has the blood stains on it. And he says, oh yeah, my wife said I should keep it. And so he has it in plastic all these years, supposedly, right? And at the end of that video I was telling you about, you see him show the reporter or the guy giving the interview, shows him the jacket with the blood stains on it. And I don't even think that was somebody real on the operating room table. Now you remember all those weird things with the no, I didn't even want to talk about it, but anyway, it looks like people with that person in California. I don't even want to get into it, but you know, it's like people that look real and they're not, and it ends up being a party. It's fake. Anyway, you know, things can be made to look real and they're not. I mean, Hollywood stuff has been around a long time, and there were movies using all this kind of stuff way back then. You know, I mean, anyway, I think that whole thing, because I've seen the photos where he's like laying there and it looks awful. And I can't remember, I think it was it Strider Raven on Twitter, or was it Vincent Kennedy? I can't remember who put those pictures out, but it was supposedly from the operating room, you know, and I'd never seen those before. It looked horrible, and I thought, wow, I can't believe they put this out and everything. Yeah, like, it was yuck. Anyway, so I don't think it was real, and that's why Claytronic comes up. There's probably all molded clay and just stuff with paint and stuff on it, you know. And I was thinking about, why would, you know, the whole thing with the fake, you know, the whole thing with the fake, you know, begins with an A, SSA, you know what I mean, on 11/22/63, like, why, okay, what was the point of going through all this? And I was thinking the other day, one of the reasons could be to show that if that can be faked, like, that anything on the planet could be faked, you know, anything from, you know, FFs from other countries, to plane things, to, you know, things that look like real incidents that are on the news and then they're not, you know, that kind of thing. So if that could be faked, so could anything. Like, that seems to make sense to me. I don't know. I'm sure there's lots of other reasons. I just haven't got that yet. It's interesting that, you know, J.D.TIPPET, that's such a big deal in the Kennedy, when people look at the Kennedy situation, like, yeah, it's a big deal with J.D.TIPPET. They talk about it all the time. Just about any show about the Kennedy episode includes that person's name, Sergeant Tippit, Tippit. So, or is it E.T.? Oh gosh, I don't know. Let me check. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it E.T.? Yeah, sorry. I'm glad I checked. It's E.T. So, Janine was talking about, on Sending Ravens, she was talking about there's a new movie coming out, and I didn't know about that until she mentioned it. And she said everybody was contacting her about it, and it's called 355, and it makes you think of 5x5 is clear comms, 35 is JFK, POTUS 35. And it's supposed to be coming out, yeah, it is coming out, because I looked it up, on January 7th. Now, that's in a couple of days, so yeah, this will go up before that. So it which just happens to be the day after the 12th day of Christmas, which is 1/6. It's also called Epiphany, and Epiphany is also called Three Kings Day, so they're kind of the same thing. And Epiphany comes from, it's the three kings see the baby Jesus for the first time, and it's an epiphany, you know, so that's where that all comes from. And it's always been my favorite word, like forever, so I like that. So anyway, this movie is supposed to come out the next day. And and it's also a year after, well, that would be a year and 1 day after the Capitol episode, you know, that I still keep saying is a white hat false flappy thing, you know. Yeah, just because I just know from the way people were acting and everything, and who was there, it just certainly seemed like a white hat kind of thing. And there's been a lot more after that, so it certainly wouldn't be the first one. So, okay, it's also I'm gonna have to say our favorite anon, or the 17th letter, a lot in this next thing, so just bear with me. It's also a 17th letter post, number 355, and if you want to look at 3 plus 5 plus 5, it's 13, so that's the 13 bloodline families. And let's see, it was on December 14th, 2017, so it was way back at the beginning. And when you take the date, you do 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1 plus 7 is 18, R. Yeah, and it looked like what he was doing, all it said was, on the post, when you just look at the face of that post, it said fake, period, just not all capitals, just fake, and then the 17th letter after that, that was all it said for post 355. But if you click on the question that he was answering above it, it was question number, anon number 110438, and then it ended with 35. So add up the first few numbers and you get 17, and then you can look at the 35, and that's JFK again. So 17 and 35. And so when you reference back to that question, you've clicked on that number. It says John Doe, and it was an email to himself. It says to me, and then there was an email address, and believe me, I tried the email address. It didn't work. So I wish it had worked. I'd be so excited. So what he was supposedly asking our favorite anon was, is this real? Is this real that he saw on the boards? Don't, in quotes, for me, don't worry about the stream ban. It's part of my plan. Share this. 17th letter. That's how it ended. So back then, excuse me, back then, I think, they were talking about, that was just fake and all that stuff. But now that I know what I know, and that they were fake in the limo, I mean, I only found this out a few days ago, or a couple of weeks, I can't remember. Now I look at it, and when I see the 355 in this post, it makes me think, when he says fake and then the initial, think about what it says. It's a fake 17th letter. It's a fake one in the limo. I don't know if I'm making that clear, but sorry. So I think that's interesting that it's like all these things are happening at the moment. I really think, think about like years ago, we had nothing going on. Nothing. Everybody was just hanging on everything and wondering when something's going to happen. And if one thing happened, everybody'd be all excited, And now you can't even keep up. Let's see. Sorry. Oh, and what Janine said, she got emails from a lot of people that had checked into it. Probably they had checked movie theater listings, and it looked like in at least some areas that this movie would be the only movie showing in all the theaters. Like maybe there were 3 or 5 or whatever theaters, and it looked like that was the only one that was at each one. So I'm not sure about that one. So I looked at the movie, I looked at the trailer, and it's it's just called 355, and it's not spelled out. It's the numbers 355, which reminds me of something else. But anyway, 7 Days in May. Remember that movie we talked about before? What a great movie, and it's identical to what's going on now. And one of the people I used to follow on Twitter mentioned that movie, and it's when you see 7 Days in May, it's not spelled out. It's number 7. I was going to say letter. I've lost it. It's 7 Days in May. And yeah, it's a great movie. And they're talking about like what's going on at this very moment. And it's from the 60s. I think it's 1964. It might have been filmed in 1963, but I haven't looked at it lately, so I don't remember. Yeah, but this, with the numbers, it reminds me of that, because that's the only time I've ever seen a movie with a number in it, and this is the second time. Yeah, let's see. So the thing I noticed about the movie 355, or 355, I don't know how people are going to say it, is at the end, when you read the credits, like when you look it up online and try to find out when the movie was made and when it's coming out, it said Freckle Films. And I'm pretty sure I've seen a picture of Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. with freckles, but now I'm having a hard time finding one. So, yeah. But redheads usually do have freckles, at least when they're in the sun in the summer. And he was a redhead. So, or is, whatever. And so Freckle Films is 119. And Birthright, I'm going to just, there's a whole lot. And they all mean something important. So just, like I'm always saying, just hang on. Triplets, Krypton. And I remember in Superman, the old Superman, the plot is that the father sends the son to Earth, or sends the son to save the Earth. And yeah, so Krypton, triplets, female Christ. I've gotten that a lot lately. Lampstands from Revelation 11. Happy ending. So we have that. Let's see. Queen Mary. Attractive. So we've got, yeah, female Christ, Queen Mary, attractive. It's really cool. Yeah. Let's see. Majestic Angel. He is coming back. Write a book. Like, you know, the Bible, things like that. Secret Garden, and that's about time travel. Who is Elijah? JFK Jr. is here. There's really a lot, I'm sorry, but they just seem important, you know, so I'm even skipping some, believe it or not. I did Lady Christ. No, did I? Yeah, I did. Lady Christ. I had it down twice because I was excited, I think. Mr. Trump, Avatar 3, Mary Magdalene. Some of you guys are out there going, why isn't she saying Mary Magdalene? That's 119. I did. Let's see. Predestined. Yeah, I thought this was interesting. I have no wife. And I've had things like that before. Decoding President Trump, things he's done. And sometimes I wonder, and I've really thinking it more and more lately, have Melania and all those guys pretended to be, Caroline, pretended to be wives, and they're really sisters. Not sisters, like literal sisters to them, really, but like more like another person, a sister in Christ, maybe. And I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let's see. Oh, and leather jacket. And Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr., you know, I usually just say Joseph Patrick. So there's pictures of him in a leather bomber jacket, because that's what he was. He was a bomber pilot in World War II. And then we have Web Tele, like T-L-E, Web Tele Radio. And I think I told you in the last show that George News has George Radio available, and they haven't started it yet. And that should be very interesting. It sounds like it's going to start at least this year, you know. So, anyway. Darkened Moon. And that makes me think of back to the eclipse that I've talked about a lot. Let's see. San Francisco. The FFs. The things that will happen. It's unreal, and meaning that all that stuff, the bad things are, the bad weather and things like that, the World War III that looks like it's going to start kind of thing, it's unreal. I hate actors, and we have all these actors right now. Oh, and this was really, it's like they're talking to me right now. It's so awesome. Left eye blind, and Mr. Handy is blind in his left eye. I mean, it's just, so it's going to be better, I can't wait. Anyway, let's see. I am forgiven is 119. Oh, these are, this is, like I said, I feel like they're talking to me, or God's talking to me. And people think I'm crazy. I know a lot of people do. Let's see. But anyway, it's got one letter wrong, but it's certainly almost the same. Excuse me. It says Millinocket. And I know nobody knows what that is, but it's the name of the town that Mr. Handy grew up in. Like, okay, so that's there. That's a funny name, right? And then it's got Monmouth, and I know there's lots of Monmouths in the United States and all, but it was a little town that I grew up in, at least for a while, like part of my growing up. So that was all 119. It's amazing. It's just amazing. Blowing up, Halley Comet. Is it Halley? I think it's Halley. I don't think it's Haley's. Xi Jinping, all spelled correctly. Yeah, Blitzkrieg and Peace Treaty and bioweapons. All those things. All those things. Truth bomb. You know how we get those phrases that they put out? I know that they're putting those phrases out there for us to say. Somehow it gets put into our, the way we're talking, either through movies or media or something like that, and they all mean things that they want us to look at. Yeah. I think that was about it. Oh, yeah. New Christ. So it makes me think of the Lady Christ. Let's see. The Dark Earth. And that's, to me, after the eclipse happens, it would be, during the day, it wouldn't be a nighttime moon eclipse. It would be a daytime one. It all adds up, 119. The wildfire and time to begin. So, enough of that, but I thought that was really interesting, That was all from Freckle Films. Now, let's see, when did I start? Oh, I don't even know what time it is. I don't know if I should start this one. Oh, I'll do Betty White. Oh, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Betty White. I have so many notes. It's ridiculous. I've got like, I'm left-handed and I don't hold the pen right. I never have held the pen right when I'm writing. I get this big writer's bump on my finger. It's like so embarrassing. And it's all come back. Last I had it was in college. So I've got it back again to show I've been working. Okay, so Betty White supposedly passed on, I don't remember. I thought the article that I read, I took a lot of notes on this, but it was from one article. And Janine saw it, and she said it was 17 days before her 100th birthday. The article I read definitely said 18 days before her 100th birthday. 17, 18, it's only off by a day, but it definitely seems to be comms, right? So, okay. So what they're doing, and Juan even said this in a roundabout way on Tom's Christmas show, and there's a 3-part show on Rumble, and I don't know if you know, but Rumble is a app. You can just download the app, so it's just like a YouTube app or whatever, so it's easy. So, and then you just subscribe to who you want, like Tom and I have one, me. Lots of people are on Rumble. So, he put that on there. He's trying to put a lot more on Rumble. So if you want to see that, that's where you have to look, with Psych Club, P-S-Y-C-H. Yeah, and I have a whole decode on that from that interview. Anyway, Juan said that certain groups basically were pushing information out there for us to see, and I think he said there's like 1 million at a time, and their goal is pretty soon 10 million, to influence 10 million. Well, what he's really talking about is the white hats doing it, because that's what they're doing. When you look at what's recommended for YouTube movies, or let's say I have Roku for a streaming device, like it will be, I don't know, it'll give all these comms, as you turn Roku on, it'll have all these things that show up as a screensaver, and it's fascinating. And anyway, so he was talking about that. So the things that pop up that are recommended for you to see are like getting all manipulated. Even if you're watching other streaming devices, it's being manipulated. And he didn't say that, but I know that's what he meant, and it's happening. And it's all things that they want us to see. Like with me with Sherlock Holmes, they're putting up the next ones they want me to see, or you, whatever. And yeah, because certain ones hadn't been posted, and then suddenly they are posted, or within a short amount of time, and that's the ones they want us to see. So anyway, this was promoted in YouTube. I didn't have to go look for this video. It's from a channel called 11 Alive. Okay, and it's about Betty White, who supposedly died. Okay, and it's 11 Alive. So the title of this little YouTube was Betty White has died at age 99, and 99 is most high. It literally equals most high in gematria. Then they linked an article, so that this little YouTube thing only had the headline and an article linked to it. So the article was Betty White, beloved golden girl, quote, golden girl, dead at 99. The article was by Travis Pittman, and I found when I see an article and I wonder if it's real or not, or if it's telling the truth, I look at the author of the article, and you can tell right off the bat whether it's real or not by putting their name in gematrix.org. So Travis Pittman is 182. Right off the bat, okay? It equals synchronicity, and that was the word that Juan used several times in the beginning of Tom's Christmas radio show on Rumble with Juan. So it was Tom and Right Side Blonde on the Christmas show on Psych Club. I know, I'm kind of getting disjointed. Anyway, so he said synchronicity a lot, Juan did. And that equals FALSE FLAG. That's what that equals. Travis Pittman. And it's about Betty White, who died. Okay? So, I'm not going to worry about her anymore. So the article continued, weeks short of her 100th birthday on January 17th. 18 days before her 100th birthday. So, yeah. Her birthday is January 17th. And so that would be 117. So it made me think of just the number 117. So I entered 117 in gematrix.org, and the first thing I see that jumps out at me is, it's like I said, it's 217 in value. Sitting here waiting. Isn't that awesome? Sitting here waiting. She starred in the Mary Tyler Moore Show as Sue Ann Nivens. Sue Ann Nivens is 157. It equals, this is goodbye, 157. Happy New Year, 157. Um, the stage is set. Tesla time machine. A fake sob story is 157. It's not over is 157. Year of truth is 157. Crowd goes wild is 157. It's telling us a story like, okay, this is what started. Goodbye. And she's coming back and the crowd goes wild, you know. What do you think? Tell me what you think about Betty White. So they had one quote from Betty White in this article. So out of all the quotes that they could have used of, you know, her huge long career so far, they used this one. There never was any rehearsal or script or anything. Like, what does that make you think of? This is a play. This is a movie. You know, it's talking about a rehearsal script. It's 205. 205 equals the conspiracy facts. Golden era coming soon. Remember, she played a golden girl on that TV show, The Golden Girls. Golden coming soon. Save the clock tower, and that's from Back to the Future, which is like time travel. Resurrected people is 205. My face hurts from smiling. It really does. So she was speaking at the time about her first TV show called Hollywood on Television, where she and her co-host ad-libbed for 5.5 hours straight, 6 days a week. 5.5, when you write it out in numbers, is 5.5, which is 5 by 5. Her first show was on KLAC-TV. That equals 69. And that equals a flappy thing. I don't even want to, you know, like, it's so funny. So she played Rose Nyland, Nyland, an odd name, unless you have that name, and then it's not odd. Rose Nyland is 127. Miracle Event is 127. Christ Tomb is 127. And what was in the Christ tomb? It was empty. She was also on a show called Date with the Angels, and that equals 181. And that equals national emergency, state of emergency. It's time, my son. Nuclear, radioactive, together, you know. The sum of all fears. And that, remember, that was about a submarine, and that's what we were talking about in the beginning of this show with Juan talking about 311 in Hawaii. That was a submarine. So anyway, the sum of all fears, it's interesting that that matches. Draining the swamp. So President Trump wants us to see that everything that matches 181, that makes sense for that day or that time frame. I will survive. So, you know, don't worry. It's going to be fine. I know it all sounds awful, but it's all, you know, those things. FF things. Somewhere in Time. And that was a movie, I can't think of her name, but it was with Christopher Reeve. And it was a movie about time travel. So that matches 181 as well. And we're still doing Betty White. So, yeah. It's about done, though. I'll give you a reprieve. Let's see. So I don't have much more. She was Rose on the Golden Girls, and it made me think, you know, well, JFK's mom was Rose. She was also on the short-lived the Betty White show, and then she made guest appearances over the next 18 years. So we have 18 two times in this one news article. She also spoke on stage at the 70th, which is, here we go with 7, God's perfect number, Primetime Emmy Awards on a Monday, 9/17/2018. So like a year after the, just about a year after the post about 355. You know, we were talking about the movie 355, and we tied it back to a post number 355, so it's about a year, which is interesting. So I'm going to end this one. I will be doing more. And remember, take care of each other, make comments, help each other with the questions, or I'll answer questions. And, you know, you can do some decoding on Sherlock Holmes or something. And I definitely, it's in other shows and movies, but to me, Sherlock Holmes is just full of it, full of, you know, things you can decode, all the way from the name of the person to words that they're repeating, you know, or phrases, interesting phrases that they say, something that jumps out at you, or a phrase they say twice in a row, all those things. And then you can see, or maybe you'll get more that you can help add to, you know, in the comment section for me, and we can add it on to the next bit. Well, it won't be the next video because I'm doing a bunch, but yeah, like we'll figure out what really happened. Like you know, the JFK limo thing, and I'm pretty sure if we keep watching the ones that they are recommending, if you're searching for that, maybe the next one that pops up, I think it's going to have some answers in there, because they're recommending these things for all of us, you know. Anyway, love you guys, and keep on thinking and decoding, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.